When the cars line up at the Australian Grand Prix next week, it will mark the first time in 11 years a Canadian has been behind the wheel of a Formula One race car. And he'll also be the youngest driver. At only 18, Lance Stroll already has one advantage. He's the son of a Canadian billionaire in an expensive sport. But as TSN's Rick Westhead explains, it's really his talent and need for speed that has fueled Stroll's rise to Formula One.
For me, to be in the car, it feels like I'm alive.
18-year-old
Canadian Lance Stroll.
Lance Stroll is said to be confirmed as a Williams driver.
The attention of Ferrari as an 11-year-old boy.
He might be the next best thing to watch.
Butterflies in your stomach, hearts beating at 200 beats per second. Words can't explain what it feels like. It's my happy place.
And it's going to be a race win for Lance Stroll, yet another to rack up for the Canadian.
You reach a speed where you don't really have the perception of how fast you're going.
Lance Stroll has done it, and done it in style.
Now it's like second nature to me, Speed has become a part of my life.
Race one of the weekend here at Imola, round 25 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. The sun is shining, the grid is formed, and it's Lance Stroll, the man on pole position.
Renee, I'm going for late braking in corner 6. I'm trying to go for the whip in black 1, just to let you know.
Like New Zealand Grand Prix?
Yeah, just to stress you out a bit.
Yeah, no problem.
Like, it could crash, it could work, who knows?
It's the final leg of the European Formula 3 Championship, a place where the world's best young drivers compete for a chance to live out their dreams in Formula One, which is widely considered to be the highest class in single-seat auto racing, conducting races on circuits across the globe. But they're all desperately chasing one rival.
It's not easy leading a championship. Everyone thinks, it's been good and you're having a good time, but it's not fun leading a championship. You have everything to lose. It's not a relaxing moment.
Meet 18-year-old Lance Stroll. He's been called a prodigy and the next great Canadian in motorsports. Hugo Massot has managed Stroll's career since the age of 9.
I would describe him as a young, strong personality. He's committed. He wants to represent this country and be the next Canadian world champion for sure.
Already signed to an F1 deal with Williams Racing, a championship title run in F3 would all but ensure an F1 seat in 2017. And he's only a win away.
5 red lights on, lights out, it's blast off, and a good start by Stroll.
Hi, Lance. Hi, Lance.
Oh la la, you like it? You like it?
Motorsport has always been a passion of mine since I'm born. I think my first word was car, if I'm not mistaken.
Lance Stroll was born to race. First driving at the age of 5 on the go-kart circuit in his home province of Quebec. His mother, Claire Ann Stroll, nervously witnessed every moment.
The first time I saw him racing, I cried. Just because he was that little boy going so fast on those go-karts. And I burst into tears because it was emotional. As a mother, it's emotional.
He was better than the other drivers because he had more natural talent. He was natural, had a lot of speed. He showed already that he understood how to position himself going to a braking zone, entering a corner, which is like natural. That was one thing that we noticed right away.
It wasn't tough, it was scary.
Scary?
It was nerve-wracking.
Lance won so often that even before he was a teenager, his father Lawrence was approached by the prestigious Ferrari racing team
Unbeknownst to me, a scout, like a scout you'd have in baseball or football, came up and introduced himself. He said, "I'm the scout for Ferrari. We have a driver academy, and we think your son is the best or one of the best 11-year-olds in the world. And we would like to bring him into Ferrari and teach him and train him from 11 until Formula One."
When Ferrari goes and signs a driver, they don't just sign any driver.
Tim Hauraney, a Formula One analyst, has followed Stroll's career since his signing with Ferrari.
At just 11 years old, coming straight out of go-karts, being signed to a major manufacturer like Ferrari is an amazing achievement.
Lance's driving career was taking flight. It wasn't long before he was racing and winning championships all over the world. And now living the life of a full-time racer in Geneva, Switzerland.
Keep the back up nice and tall. You ready? Go. Okay, 20 reps. Super. That's beautiful.
Living in Geneva must be interesting. What's it like to boot up and down the streets of Geneva in a car?
Unfortunately, I haven't reached that point yet. I'm still actually without a driver's license.
Okay, so how does that work? How explain that?
What it's like to not have a driver's license? You take the bus and you find other ways to get around town. That's pretty much how it works.
So where does Lance's love for racing come from?
I guess it comes from me.
I was introduced to motorsport at a very young age, and as well just watching Formula One with him, as a little boy, waking up Sunday mornings and turning on the race, that all was part of the reason why I love the sport.
In my early 30s, I began to race in the Ferrari Challenge. Lance was starting at a very young age. He would come with me to the races and watch me race, and I raced a few GT races, so I guess he got the bug from his father.
How close are father and son?
Very close. They are very, very close. There is a lot of love. There is a lot of trust. Lawrence devoted his life for his son.
But in one way, Lance's biggest lifelong supporter has also become a source of controversy.
What is some of the chatter that Lance has heard that you have heard through the years, and how has it affected him?
Well, he comes from a wealthy family, so it's easier for him, basically. Don't need to go in more detail than that.
Lance's father, Lance Stroll, isn't just wealthy, he's one of the richest men on earth. He's taken over and turned around brands such as Tommy Hilfiger and Michael Kors. The Canadian mogul now has a net worth in the billions.
Coming from that wealthy background, is quite exceptional. Maybe people in the media or maybe people online see that as having an advantage over everybody else. Sure, maybe he is, but at the end of the day, you still have to go out and produce.
I suppose there's always faced questions about whether he's progressing the way he is because of his father.
Yeah, I can't deny that. I come from wealth, and I don't let that affect what I do.
Most people don't know Lance will have their own impressions because of his success, whether it be on the track or because of the success in business of his father, which has absolutely nothing to do with Lance. His father's not driving the car.
He's come in, there's going to be obviously accusations about his father and his father's wealth, and yet he's been winning championships.
Lance Stroll is a race winner once more.
But people who are close to the Strolls push back against those whispers. Friends who include former Ferrari driver Gerhard Berger, who has watched Lance race since childhood.
Yes, he had a lot of help from the father in certain ways, but the boy always delivered. Of course, he's a father and he has the possibility, why he shouldn't help his son? I've seen a lot of boys of rich fathers, they've been then too spoiled, they've been not prepared to bring in themselves with the right commitment, and Lance did it.
Money doesn't buy wins, it buys the opportunity, and then you can have all the money in the world and be last place. But that's not what I've proven. I've won many championships, I've won many races. There's a lot more behind the whole story than money.
At dangerous speeds.
It took probably years off my life.
A lesson learned.
I wanted it too bad.
When W5 continues.
Go bigger amplitude. That's big, big.
The Stroll team has preparation down to a science.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good man.
They have a full-time trainer on staff,
Tight right there. Perfect.
as well as a dietitian, a psychologist, and state-of-the-art technology.
All right, so this is our simulator. I've been training on here for the last few years. It's a really good tool to, learn the tracks before the race weekends. I spend normally a couple days before the race weekends in here, learning the track and working on a few driving techniques for the weekend. So right now it's loaded for Hockenheimring, which we'll be racing at for the final round of the Formula 3 European Championship. Of course, it's not reality, but we try and get as close to reality as possible. I've had a few moments where I needed to jump out of the simulator. It can get a bit draining sometimes, mentally, looking at this TV. If you're sitting here for too long. But yeah, over the years you get used to it, so now it's sort of like second nature to me.
And with that in mind, all that's left for Lance to worry about is driving. In 2015, Lance entered his rookie season at the F3 level, a springboard to F1. But the season didn't go as planned.
Formula 3 is one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult championship. Everybody has the exact same equipment, same car, same tires. He was 15 at the time and thought he was just going to jump in the car and start winning again.
Jake Dennis, who goes to the outside line, and there's contact. Leclerc gets involved with that, and it is 25. Lance Stroll out of the race already.
One of the things he was criticized for early in his career, in his first year of Formula 3, was just crashing.
And there is the outcome.
Some of the crashes that he had were...
So that was make contact, and his Rosenquist who comes off worse. Broken suspension. Lance Stroll is out of the race, and that, I'm afraid, was pretty silly driving.
Drivers who are older tend to try and push the younger drivers around who are rookies. I think they tried to do that with Lance, and he just wasn't having any of it.
15th on the grid, and a huge crash there. Barrel rolling over. That's absolutely massive, and it's Lance Stroll.
I was really just eager to get my first win, and I was trying so hard to get it, and I maybe started to get a bit too aggressive in the race, and I wanted it too bad.
Horrific, tremendously scary. You can't imagine. It took probably years off my life.
My mistake, completely my fault, and I have to learn from it, and I have to learn from it the hard way.
Stroll was shaken, and for the first time in his career, humbled.
There still seems to be this belief that this is just like it is on your PlayStation, where if you have a drama, you can press reset and it's all fine. It's not. This is real life, isn't it?
He would finish the 2015 season in 5th place overall.
It's not always beautiful. There are very hard moments. I've had to hit rock bottom and get back up, and that's part of the journey, to always stay in it. That's the hardest part.
A new season of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship starts right here.
After an off-season of reflection, Lance Stroll came into 2016 with renewed confidence. But there was a ton of pressure on his young shoulders to produce.
He learned from those mistakes. He learned from those crashes, and then putting it all into practice. Coming back in 2016 and dominated.
Lights out, we're racing. That's a really good move. That's really great stuff. What a start to the season for Lance Stroll. He is the race winner.
Well, his 2016 season was extremely good.
Lance Stroll is so far ahead of everybody else.
Lance was unstoppable.
And the race leader, Lance Stroll, trying to make good his escape here. Just look in the background, there's barely anybody in sight. Such is the dominance of Stroll in this race.
And then the press really started to take a hold of, hey, you know, this kid is for real. He's not just supported by a rich family, he's actually the real deal.
He has commanded this race, he's not got a wheel wrong, and it's going to be a race win for Lance Stroll. Yet another to rack up for the Canadian.
And through it all, at every race as the wins piled up, was his father, Lawrence.
Tremendous pride. I'm proud of Lance because he's a fantastic son and a great boy, not because he's a great race car driver.
Much improved as a driver. A big hug for his father, Lawrence.
Every race I see him, every test I see him, and I tell you, it can be very boring to hang around on racetracks. But he doesn't move away 1 millimeter from his son.
Hey, what you got your 3, baby.
The way he supported his son in his career was not a typical superficial way of a father just giving the money because the son likes to do this. No, he got very deep into the whole thing.
He's been the biggest supporter throughout my career. He's been there since day one, and he's still with me every race.
It is going to be a win, the 4th of the year for Lance Stroll. Stroll comes up on the outside there. He's going to get the race lead. He's absolutely dominant here. Championship leader. He's going to build that advantage with yet another race win. Lance Stroll has done it again. It is win number 7 for the Canadian. Just blitzed everybody. Win number 8 of the year. There's nobody around. Lance Stroll takes win number 9.
As the F3 season reached its last 2 weekends, Stroll's overall points lead proved insurmountable.
Checkered flag at the ready.
Lance Stroll becomes the first ever Canadian to wrap up the European Formula 3 Championship. He wins the race, he wins the championship.
And Lance Stroll has done it, and done it in style.
As soon as I crossed the finish line, I completely lost it.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Oh, my God. It's just so good. It feels so good.
I set a part of myself free. It's been in my stomach. It's been there for so long, all those nerves and everything, and I just set it free. And no money in the world can buy that feeling. Nothing can buy that feeling. Thanks, Dad.
So proud of you. So happy for you.
Yeah,
it's not the worst smell in the world. No, right now that's the best smell in the world.
Bravo, Lance, bravo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bravo, you've been amazing.
What a start.
What a start, huh? I was shocked myself. I was like, no way.
That's the way to finish Formula 3. A champion with a triple win weekend. Doesn't get any better.
Definitely gonna enjoy it. It's just pure emotion, and there's nothing deeper than that. There's nothing more amazing than that.
You worked so hard for this team. So good.
It lasts for such a short moment, you know. It's amazing. It's really important to just embrace that moment because they don't come often.
Teenager Lance Stroll is set to be confirmed as a Williams driver for 2017.
He's annihilated the F3 Championship. He won nearly 50% of the races.
In November of 2016, Stroll was officially presented as the newest driver for the Williams Martini racing team. With 16 Formula One championship titles, Williams is synonymous with top-level motorsport. But still, the same questions surround Stroll.
He's the son of the billionaire Lawrence Stroll, and we believe he could be contributing almost £30 million.
I think it's really unfortunate that people are focusing on that. Yes, his father may have money, he may have come from a privileged background, but it's not going to matter a drop next year when he starts on the grid in Melbourne and those lights go out. It's going to be all about the talent that he has.
The criticisms aren't new, but neither are the expectations. Since the age of 5, Lance Stroll has proven to be a winner. He's been victorious at every level, and only F1 remains.
I want to be competitive, I want to be good, I want to be fast. Of course, I'll be a rookie. I'll make mistakes. I don't expect to come in and have it all figured out. That's not the way it will work.
It'll be a learning curve. There'll be benchmarks, which have to be realistically placed. But I do see 5 or 10 years him fighting for, and hopefully before that, fighting for the World Championship in Formula 1.
You can only do the best you can do. And that's the way I've always looked at it. You gotta go out, you gotta try, you gotta push as hard as you can, and then look back at the whole thing and have no regret.